Welcome to another episode of Mysteries of the Superstition Mountains. One of the most fascinating characters that I've read about that has to do with those mountains is Walt Gassler. And we met with Ron Feldman and he filled us in on a lot of information about this gentleman. Ron, one of the characters that I really am fascinated by, he is definitely fascinating, is Walt Gassler.
The last trip that Gassler went in, we packed him in and left him. That's what he wanted. Mm-hmm. And then a good friend of mine, Don Shade, a Dutchman hunter, he was riding with one of my Wranglers back there one day, and he found Walt Gassler sitting up on a rock dead. He's the guy that found him, Don Shade. And he had a backpack on. Now, somewhere along the line, this backpack supposedly disappeared. And supposedly the story is he had gold ore in it, okay? And supposedly, I think Tom Collenborn somehow wound up with it. Okay, so those are a lot of supposeds. Mm-hmm. Tom was doing a speech somewhere one night, and this guy came up and said he was, I think, Ron Gassler. I'm the son of Walt. Understand you have the ore? And I think he wanted it. Tom didn't give it to him. The guy happened to be an imposter. Now, I met the real Ron Gassler. I happened to meet him. And we sat down and talked for some time. And Ron said my dad had nothing in the mountains, he had nothing in that backpack, and he was not carrying any gold with him. Walt Gassler was a strong believer. He was good friends with Tex Barkley, by the way. But Walt had nothing, absolutely nothing but the dream.
Ron, there's an area where I came across some huge boulders. I mean, they're big, and you have to climb across them to get to the other side. They don't look natural. Can you fill us in about those?
No.
You know where I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That does not look natural.
Yeah.
We climbed over those.
I think it's kind of, it looks like a wall.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in places in the mountain, and if it's what I'm talking about.
Big boulders. Big boulders.
Yeah, a lot of it was used for drift fence by the ranchers.
Okay. But you hike over that and you go to the right on the other side, go down the canyon, and there's like a couple of real steep cliffs that you go on, and on one side you've got a mine, and someone has spray painted there with an arrow.
Wait, let's back up.
Okay.
A mine is a hole in the ground.
Prospect.
Usually, okay.
Prospect.
All right, prospect.
Okay, prospect. Yeah. It's up on the side of the mountain, and someone spray painted an arrow saying Peralta Mine.
Yeah, right.
It's a prospect up there. You can't, it's hard to get, you couldn't get to it unless you were a rock climber. But on the other side, I saw a cave. And I thought, well, that looks like it would be perfect if I found some building in there, some dwelling. Went in there, and sure enough, it looks a lot like Rogers Trailhead, Rogers Trough. It looks like that. It's not. But it's a perfectly, except it didn't have the top to it.
Well, that's all Indian, you understand.
Yeah.
It's all prehistoric Indian.
Now, but in Gassler's stories, he said that was one of the Peralta's headquarters.
Poppycock.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Poppycock. It's Gassler had nothing, and that's not. It's Indian ruins.
Okay.
Totally Indian.
Okay.
The big one at Angel Springs, same thing.
Yeah,
You've been to Angel Springs.
Exactly, looks exactly like that.
And by the way, that's a big story in itself. What we found at Angel Springs.
Really?
Yeah, and that's another story.
Okay. For another time then.
Yeah. but that's another,
Okay, so that, now, what canyon is that? Is that Pistol Canyon, or?
The one going up into the mountain from that
side. The one
is
going
Pistol.
into where these ruins are.
It's Pistol.
That is Pistol, because it's a box canyon.
Which is a very interesting canyon, but it's got nothing in it.
It's an eerie canyon.
It is.
Very eerie looking canyon, but you say there's nothing there.
No.
Except for
no mineral.
Okay.
You're not on the east side.
All right.
You're not going to find gold there. Now, John Cochera found the gold, but it came from somewhere else.
Okay.
There's nothing like that anywhere near Peters Mesa, Malapai Mountain, or the west side.
Okay. All right. Because that's what I guess one of his theories was, and this was Gassler, somebody he was associated with. You know more about this than I do. That Tex Barkley and some others went back there and overturned some of the what do you call them, the grinding stones and stuff back there, so that no one could tell that there was anything going on.
And the grinding stones were Indian.
Yeah.
They're all Indian.
Yeah. Do you know anything about that?
I just know the story.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I've heard the same story you have.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And figure it this way. Tex was involved in a lot of that prehistory of the Dutchman. And he was involved with the charade of the Dutchman being on the west side. So here comes this guy named Walt Gassler, and he's going to perpetrate his story and maybe go out with him and show him all this stuff and, you know, make sure Gassler doesn't get to the east side.
Well, I've been fascinated with Walt Gassler for quite some time now, and it's interesting that we've been able to solve a little bit of the mystery surrounding Walt Gassler, his death, and so forth. Another one of those mysteries in the Superstition Mountains.